There's a lot of confusion about female orgasm, and it always amuses me when I read these articles and expert opinions from men on women's orgasm. And I know when I was first reading about sexuality, I read that orgasms don't happen in the vagina because there's no nerve endings in there. It's just very bizarre. So what I want to talk about today is that there's three places that women have orgasm. And it's not actually true because women can have orgasms from thinking, feeling. Some women can orgasm just from being touched on the arm. But basically there's three places in the female genitalia where orgasms can originate. And they all actually work in tandem together. I know this is quite controversial, but this is my experience. So the focus today is on the clitoral orgasm, which is fine because it was never given any credence before. The clitoris is it really loves a lot of stimulation, and this kind of orgasm is very similar to a male orgasm in that the stimulation builds, the tension builds, and then when you have the orgasm, it falls off. And you may have 2 or 3 of those. You may go back and have a couple of them. 1 to 3 is what's most common. And women often learn how to have these kind of orgasms because they don't have them just by themselves. So Betty Dodson was a pioneer in teaching women how to have these orgasms with vibrators. And so women often teach themselves how to have these and then teach their partners. And this is one kind of orgasm that, just like a male orgasm, just like a male ejaculation, leaves you at the end that you don't want to have anymore. You're done. You're done. And there's even some controversy that maybe these effects of I don't want to have it again can last for up to 2 weeks, but we'll get into that later. And another kind is a G-spot orgasm, and the G-spot is just right inside the vagina. And if you put your finger in there, you can feel about in 1 or 2 digits of the finger, you can feel there's a different texture in there, and that's what's called the G-spot, named after Dr. Grafenberg, or we call it the sacred spot or the sacred zone, because it's actually a zone, not an actual spot. And when this is massaged with a finger or with a sex toy or a penis, it can actually produce an orgasm. And then there's also inside, there's a cervical orgasm. The cervix is further back, and it's what covers the opening to the uterus. And this is very sensitive. And in many women, it carries a lot of trauma. So often this area is not really open to being massaged, touched. It has to be gently healed. We have, through having pelvic exams, we've often had this area poked and scraped and treated a bit harshly. We've often had some banging going on it that sometimes has caused this pain. And so there's techniques in Tantra to heal the cervix, but that's a possibility. So these kinds of internal orgasms, so Freud said there's, women aren't mature unless they've had these, they can have inner orgasms. And I don't know about that judgmental maturity thing, but it is possible to develop these inside types of orgasms. And these are very different from cervical orgasms. Women often don't know they're having them because they're not this sort of intense thing. They're more like rippling waves, and they take you over, and it seems that the amount of time they can last perhaps is infinite, because women had them for an hour or just pretty much until you get tired. You can stay on this sort of orgasmic rippling wave. It just takes you over and rocks you. And you don't want to stop. You want to make love again. You don't have this fall down that you do from clitoral orgasms. So 3 types of orgasms for women. Doesn't mean you have to put this on your performance list. It's more informational that this is what's possible.